And in today's Family Focus, we want to talk to you about that your destiny is waiting for you to discover. Do you believe that? That your destiny is waiting for you to discover? You know, the moment we were conceived in our mother's womb, God already had a destiny designed specifically for every one of us. And He knew exactly the type of people that is going to come around us that we will be encountered with. He knew exactly the people who's going to help us to move into the next level, the next step in our lives. He knew that the type of people who's going to bring a word of encouragement to our hearts, or even say something that will kind of give us a little bit of like, I really don't like what I hear, but it's going to build me up to move on to the next step. Are you hearing what I'm saying? How many of you have met people where you felt you have known them for a long, long period of time? A few of you? I guess most of us doesn't travel too much then. Well, when I was a little boy, maybe about this little high, I lived up in the bush. And so in the bush, we would go into the forest, and there's a place called Blue Basin. It was lots of forestry, and it was like there were two great walls of stone, and the water will run through. And there in the middle of it, the water would be blue. And there was a stone that was carved like a fishtail. And there was a fable story that there lives a mermaid in this part of the water that was so blue. And she would come out and comb her hair. So her hair was gold and her eyes were blue. And it says that if you get one golden strand of this mermaid, you'll be the richest man in the world. My mermaid. Lots of hair. So I'm a multimillionaire.
You know, God already knew who you were going to marry. Do you agree with me? He already knew how many children you're going to have. He knows what your desires are, and He desires to meet them. You know, when I was praying for a husband, and I went through, you know, the thing is, when you're going through your path of destiny, you will face obstacles. You will face challenges. That's a part and package of it. But you just have to continue to trust God and know that He has a perfect plan for you, has a perfect destiny for you. And, you know, while I was on that journey, I was praying, and God brought this young man all the way from Trinidad for me. All the way from Trinidad. And, you know, you might say, well, there's a lot of Caribbean people in this area, but I'm not from this area. I'm from a little town called Simcoe, Ontario, with not much culture there. Mostly my culture. You can picture that? So He brought my husband all the way to that little town for me. So you can hold on to the promises of God and know that God has a destiny and a plan for you, just like He had for me.
So we have a few tips for you, because we really believe that we need to understand that you are not just living in a la-la land and whatever will happen will happen. God has a pathway for your life, and He has people lined up just for you to fulfill the destiny. So tip number one is we all have a distinct destiny designed by God. When we try to design our destiny, we will fall. But when we depend upon God's destiny, it lines to success.
The other one is if we fail to take advantage of the opportunity God brings across our pathway, we may divert from our destiny. But the third point is encouraging, that even though you may divert from it, God always gives you chances to come back on that pathway. Amen? That's a good God that we have. So God will help to prepare us to finish that line, that crossing line.